1st of November.
Okay, so we have our work cut out for us in terms of all the numbers. Talking about numbers, the Bajaj Auto is still the top gainer. In fact, it's now up over 3%. But you know what? This quarter's numbers are expected to be on the weaker side. On a year-on-year basis, the volume growth for Bajaj Auto is expected to be very muted, just a growth of around 0.6%. And there's been a slowdown in the African two-wheeler market, and hence exports may really dampen the volume growth for Bajaj Auto. However, the lagged impact of raw material inflation is also something that could keep the margin recovery from coming through. So the stock, of course, is up, but it's had a pretty rough run. It's down 13% from the highs that we saw in the month of August. So maybe just some short covering over there. But Jay Thakkar of Marwadi Shares and Finance is joining us on the show to talk about that. Jay, good afternoon. First, some thoughts on, stocks like Bajaj Auto, HCL Tech that are running up ahead of their earnings. From a technical standpoint, does it still make sense to go long here or take a fresh long position?
Hi, very good afternoon to you, Sonia, and everyone. Well, as far as the HCL Tech is concerned, I would say that overall Nifty IT index itself, Sonia, has been showing that positive divergence. I mean, we are seeing that the selling is getting absorbed at the lower levels, and on the weekly charts as well. That's on the positional charts rather. I would say we are seeing a good positive divergence. I mean, after a clear-cut 5-wave declining structure, that is a triple zigzag falling structure on the Nifty IT index. I mean, around the levels of 26,000. I believe that there is a good support for the index, and till those levels are held, to be precise, it's 26,186. I mean, till those levels are held, there is a fair chance that Nifty IT can, surprise from here on and bounce back to the levels of at least 31,000. That is 38% retracement of the entire fall which we have seen in this year, and that's more than 10% move. And the index has also formed a nice double bottom pattern. So has HCL Tech. It's just that it has to take off the levels of say 1,000 on the upside. Once it surpasses the levels of 1,000, I think we would see a good move at least till the levels of 1150 to 1200 on HCL Tech. So one can buy above those levels. I mean, there would be a decent risk reward as well as momentum thereafter. And as far as Bajaj Auto is concerned, we are seeing a good positive divergence out here as well at a very short time frame. And I think that there is a fair chance that it can bounce back to the levels of 3750 in the short term. So I see a bounce in both of these stocks.
Okay. Technically, how would you approach the market? Probably from a more medium-term perspective, Jay. The reason I ask you is that we have a lot of cues this week from the macro standpoint. So from that perspective, what kind of call would you take? Are you taking any call?
We are taking a short-term call right now. Positionally, I think that markets are in a range, and the range is quite broader. I would say 16,500 on the lower side, and prior to that, the short-term range would be 16,800, which Mangalam also rightly pointed out due to his 200 demo and a lot of good put writing happening at those strikes. Whereas on the upside, I believe that 17,500, the previous highs, can be tested because on the FI net long positions, we have seen quite oversold positions there. The numbers are around 14, 15 right now. The PCR is also trading below the levels of 0.7. It's in the range of 0.5, 0.7. That's too quite oversold. And I believe that structurally, the US markets as well seems to be forming a good positive divergence. I mean, we are seeing truncation out there. I mean, we don't see Dow falling much, whereas, NASDAQ hit a fresh lows. But then we are seeing some divergence, positive divergence happening there as well. And this clearly indicates that, market might remain sideways right now. And the range could be 17,500 to 16,500 on the broader perspective. And a shorter perspective, I believe that 16,800 till those levels are held, at least, 17,300 can be seen. So we have a long position for the short term, placing a stop loss below 16,800. And as far as the bank Nifty is concerned, I believe that once 39,000 levels are taken off, you can see further up move till the levels of 39,500, 40,000. But then bank Nifty really has to take off those levels of 39,000. Nifty is showing much more clarity.
Just a quick one before we let you go, Jay. Today Asian Paints is underperforming. It's at the lows of the trading session or lower end of the trading session, whereas Berger Paints is outperforming. It's up around 1.5%. In fact, for this month itself, Berger is up about 1.5%. Asian Paints is lower. But for this year, as we can see, Asian Paints has actually outperformed Berger Paints. Is it time now for one to look at a pair trade possibility out here? This year, for instance, Asian Paints is down around just 4%, whereas Berger Paints is down 19%. Is there any such formation on the chart?
Exactly. We are also seeing the similar kind of structure, and Asian looks a bit sideways right now. The momentum out there is has weakened, Mangalam, I would say. And as far as Berger is concerned, I mean, when Asian Paints was moving higher at that point of time, Berger was consolidating. So those two had were not correlating to each other since a couple of weeks now, and now we are seeing that Berger Paint is finally likely to catch up the rally. And once that happens, so I believe then thereafter, the correlation again would be higher thereafter. So right now, definitely one can go long on Berger Paints and go short on Asian Paints. I think this pair should work at least for the short term.
Okay, all right. Jay, thanks a lot for joining in. Have a great day. Before we slip into a break, just wanted to mention that the market is looking pretty fine. The sensex is now up almost 400 points and getting better as we speak. High point of trade right now. As we slip into a break, here's some great news for investors like you. You can now track the US market action real time on Money Control. Just log on to the Money Control website or the app and stay informed about all